Now we're going to add some formatting. The first thing we're going to do is select the C SPA services and apply a heading 1 tag to it. So with that text selected, I'm going to go down here to the properties, and where it says format paragraph, I'm going to select heading 1. The next thing the book asks us to do is to select these 3 items here, massages, facials, and body treatments, and apply heading 2. So with that selected, I'm going to go down to format and heading 2. Now if I look at how my page looks as compared to the book, it looks very similar to where we are in the book. The one thing I wanted to show you is the code. So let's go into split view, and if we go here to C SPA services, you'll see that the H1 tag has been applied. And if I click down here into the massages, facials, and body treatments, you can see that that has the heading 2 tag applied to it. So next I'm going to save this page, and the next thing that we're going to look at, I'll flip back to design view, is creating a menu bar. So I'm going to close the SPA page now by clicking the X here, and I already have my index page open, but if you don't, you can double click it in your file panel. I see it's not saved. I see an asterisk here, so I'm going to go ahead and save that so that I'm starting with a saved page. What we're going to do is put our insertion point to the left of A in About Us, right here at the beginning of that first word, and then we're going to select About Us, Spa, and Cafe. So I'm going to click and drag to select those words, and then I'm going to type Home, About Us, Spa, Cafe, and Activities the way it says in the book. Now I'm going to take a little shortcut because there's no sense in retyping everything. So I'm going to do Home, and then I'm going to leave About Us, Spa, and Cafe, and at the end of Cafe I'm going to do Activities. And these are going to become, these are going to become our menu items. Not sure why it's not keeping the formatting, so what I'm going to do is go back to Cafe and type so it keeps the formatting. So these are going to be our menu bar, and we're going to add the links later on. Next we're going to click in front of the word welcome, and we're going to put a horizontal rule between the navigation menu and our text. So if you go into the insert, and if you're on common, you should be able to find an item called horizontal rule, and I'm going to click that, and it's going to put a rule in between my navigation menu and my text. Next we're going to save our work and then add some links to our web pages. So I'll go File, Save, and then I'm going to double click the word Home to select it. That's just a quick shortcut for selecting the entire word. And then I'm going to browse for file next to the link in the Property Inspector. So with the word selected, I go down to the Property Selector, and you can see this box called Link here, and I'm going to browse. And what I'm trying to do here is to link the word Home to my home page. Now you want to make sure that you're in your site folder, and then you just find your index page, select it, and say Open, and then you'll see now here in the link, next to link, it says index.html. And if you click off the word Home, you'll see it's now underlined and blue as if it were a hyperlink. If we split our screen to see what we actually did here, I'll click on the word Home so we can find it easily in the code. It's down here on line 27. You can see it says ahref equals index.html, and then there's the word Home. That's the code that was generated when we hyperlinked the word Home to our index page. I'll go back to design view now, and then we're going to repeat those steps and link About Us to the About page. So select the words, go to the Browse for File, select the About page, say Open, double-click Spa, browse to the Spa page, double-click Cafe, browse to the Cafe page, and then double-click Activities and browse to the Activities page. Now, before I actually do this, I'll show you another little trick you can do. If you have your file panel showing and you have activities selected, right next to the Browse for File, there's a little target icon, and when you hover over it, it says Point to File. You can click and drag and point to the file that you want to link to. So I want this to link to the Activities page. So if I click and drag and hold it and then let go, you'll see that now it's linked to the activity page. So you can either browse for your file, or if you can see your file in your file panel, you can use your little target to point to it. Either way, you've hyperlinked to those pages. So we're going to save this. I'm just going to do Control S. And one of the things that confuses people is that when you click on it, you would think that if it's a hyperlink that it will hyperlink to the page. But you're not going to see that happen in Dreamweaver. You would have to look at that in a browser to see that work. And we're going to take a look at that in a little bit though. First, we're going to create an email link. So after the phone number, on the bottom of your page, you're going to put your insertion point there, and then we're going to insert a line break, which is Shift and Return or Enter. Remember, that's not a paragraph. And we're going to click Email Link in the Common category on the Insert panel. So if I go back to my Insert panel, one of the options is Email Link, and I'm going to select that. And I have two boxes. The text is what's going to show on the page, so I'm going to type Club Manager, and then the email is the actual email link that I want it to go to. So manager@stripedumbrella.com, and then I'll say OK. And that created this email link down here that if I were to click in a browser should launch my email software. Now the next thing they have you do is to show you, they want to show you that the email link is in the Assets panel. Now the Assets panel is not something we've looked at yet, and so I don't know if you have it open here. If you don't, you would need to show that panel. So you can go into your Windows and select Assets, and then it'll bring up the Assets panel. You can drag it over if it's something that you want to keep. I'm going to drag it right next to my files. So if you don't see it there, that's typically where it is. So here I'm on my files, here's my Insert panel, here's my Assets panel. And if you look at the URLs button, which is the third one down, you should see the email link. Now I don't know, I didn't save this file, so I'm going to save it real quick, and then I'm going to, then I want to refresh this by clicking this button down here, and now I see that my email link is here as an asset. Now the Assets panel is convenient because you can easily find and enter things that you use over and over again. If you start to look through it, you can look at the images. It'll show image assets that you have in your site, any colors that you've used in your site, and now we're looking at the links that we're using in our site. Next in your lessons, it goes through a couple other items that are pretty straightforward and not things that we really need to look at a video for. If you're having trouble with them, absolutely reach out to me. But I wanted to show you a couple other things in the chapter that are later on. One of the things is when we're looking at our web page, if you look at these icons down here at the bottom, this is what your page looked like when we were finished with our work. There's a computer monitor that'll show you what it looks like in a desktop. Next to it, this is what it will look like in a tablet. And next to that, this is what your page will look like in on a cell phone. So those are just convenient little tools. But the other thing that we need to look at is how we can test our pages by viewing them in a browser. And that's something that we want to do very often as we're working, because you can't really depend on everything looking as it does in Dreamweaver when you're looking at it in a browser. And ultimately, you're building the site for the world to see, and they're all on browsers. So one of the things that we're going to look at is how to preview your website in a browser. So this may look different to you. It really depends on what browsers you have installed. But up here on the toolbar, there's a little globe. If you hover over it, it says Preview, Debug, and Browser. If you click that, you should see the browsers that are recognized that are on the system. You can edit your browser list by adding new ones. But if I click on Preview in Google Chrome, it should launch my Chrome browser, and it'll launch that page that we were just working on in Chrome. And now I can actually test those links, because if I click on About Us, I see it took me to my About Us page, although it is a blank page. If I go back and click on Activities, you'll see it's now linking to my Activities page. These pages are all blank right now. But if I click on Home, it'll take me to Home and About Us, to About Us, etc. So that's really the best way to check your pages.